There's a special case of attacking where the two sides castle on opposite sides. Let's have a look at what I think was a very typical example, a game played between Farr and Gudmundsson in 1958, I think. A book I got out of an old book, as I get many of my examples. So here we have White setting up what's called the Yugoslav attack against the dragon. The dragon is what Black is playing with this a Sicilian with this bishop on g7, which is its best diagonal along here. But also it makes a few holes around where we expect the king to castle. And so White, anticipating this, is going to castle queenside and then try and batter their way past this phalanx of pawns on the king side. So kingside castling as predicted, bishop d7, now g4, starting the attack before the king's there. Rook c8, bishop e2, castles, and now h4. And White's going to play a very typical attack, trying to hack their way through the h-file, and if allowed, will play h5. Whoops, not that one. Bishop to h6. Take the pawn, and presumably Black will take back in some way. I expect it's much safest to take back with the f pawn, but so we play there. Takes on g7, takes on g7, queen g8 check, queen h6 check rather. And if the king goes backwards, that's in some danger, because of course if g5, chasing the knight away, or perhaps better, knight to d5, and if the knight is exchanges or is captured, then queen takes h7 is checkmate. Now lots of other possibilities in there, but essentially it's mate in 7 if Black doesn't do anything about it. So Black's got to do something big and important about it, either to create a defence and or to attack White, because of course Black can charge down the queen side just as fast as White's chasing down the king side. So after h4, Black plays knight takes on d4 and bishop takes on d4, queen a5, and so Black's pointing their heavy pieces at the White king. King to b1, so that if ever White wants to move that knight, or if Black takes it, the a pawn is covered. And now e5, getting some space in the centre and kicking the bishop about. Bishop to e6, ganging up on that a pawn. And now something like rook takes c3 is a very typical Sicilian sacrifice. Sometimes it wins, sometimes it doesn't win, but it's always in the air. So a3 by White, rook fd8 by Black, bishop to g5, not going to h6 in this case, but pinning the knight, rook to d7, getting out of the pin, h5, ready or not, and now rook on d to c7. So there's some serious pressure down that half open c file. h6 this time, instead of takes, rook takes c3 by Black, h takes g7 by White, exciting stuff. The rook comes forward, still allowing the capture, takes on f6, rook to b6, so exciting stuff. I mean, both sides seem to be on the verge of delivering some sort of checkmate, but very difficult to see who's going to get through first. White has done a great job sort of hacking through the king side, but is faced with mating a couple of moves themselves. So I mean, this is a difficult position and quite complicated. So at the moment Black is threatening not queen takes pawn, which is a natural sort of move to make. But white can checkmate faster than that. Black's actually threatening rook takes pawn check, with check by the queen, and with the bishop covering a2. Then in fact black's got the mate and has got a mate forced with checking moves. So white decides to put a spanner in that and plays bishop to b5, and after rook takes b5, queen takes d6, covering the a3 square and also threatening various sorts of checkmate. Black comes back with the rook, queen to f8 check, turns into queen and takes, and now rook takes h7, and it's going to be mate on h8, whatever black does. Black can slow this up by throwing in a couple of pieces maybe, but essentially that's the story. So that's goes a long way, I think, towards showing you the principles about which you play an opposite side castling position. White can afford to throw up the kingside pawns because their king isn't underneath it. I mean, sometimes you can play this what's called a pawn storm, throwing up lots of pawns to open up lines with your king castled underneath it, say with a king on g1, but that's obviously riskier. If you've got a real domination of space, particularly, or real domination of space on the king side, then maybe you can get away with that. But more often, white will prefer to go long and with this and try and keep the centre closed against anything that black might do. So a nice game there from white, and how to play an attack with the opposite sides castling.